All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a wonderful morning. It is May 7th, 2025, and it is Jerome Powell Day. So besides that, the last night after hours move with China, it was pretty big, but you're already seeing we are only up big, but you're already seeing we are only, that's me. But we have a lot to deal with. You even had conflict last night, literally after the bell, India, Pakistan, that was moving things. But this China thing has a lot of attention beyond just Powell. So long story short, everybody even doubted it yesterday. Like, well, what's going to happen? It's going to take this much time. What's going to, and then you're already seeing it. But when it's all said and done, the news is good, and people are going to use this as yes, it is de-escalatory, but it is not going to lead to an immediate deal. So that's what the market's going to work out. Then you got Jerome Powell in the way with all of it, and don't get your hopes up. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of fun, but Powell is not expected to do much. There's no summary of economic projections, and there's just so much less data, information, and time, even from the last meeting and what's gone on. So we'll see where it all plays out. It should be a wild one, but Chad, happy Wednesday. We got a lot in store. Good morning. What up, baby? How you doing, Zach? Hope it pays. Mr. Edwards, makeshift, dos nacho, ocho, lucky soldier, baby. Good morning. What up, Tim Whitman? What up, comeback Laker J? Good morning, Mark, Samuel, Allen, Maximus, Mikael, PMG, YS, Noah, Connor, Matt, Carson, Bo, Caleb Wilson, Nicholas, love to travel. What up, baby? What up, winning loser? How you doing, Julie? What up, Crypto Chris? Jerry, will y'all? Andre, Ion, Ramsey, Nick. Oh, good morning. What up, J-Dog? What about that Twitch, senor? Avad, Dev Royalty, baby. Preforms, El Coyote, 12 Jimin, Canal, XMD, Payday Devil, Blue 42, Donnie, Epic Eric, El Coyote, Jamie, Robo Hand Tech, and Pie Guy, baby. Good morning. So, Chadadonia, I hope you guys are ready. It's gonna be fun. I don't know. It's Powell. I have a lot to show you. I got a couple of statements we could go over, and I got a little bit of a Fed preview for you. It sucks because I don't want you to get too hyped, but then you never know. Powell might always surprise. So, here is Josh AI with the news. Good morning. Stock futures get lift from U.S.-China trade talks. U.S. stock futures rose and the dollar snapped 3 days of declines as China and the U.S. prepared to hold their first confirmed trade talks since President Donald Trump unleashed his global tariff war. Futures contracts for the S&P 500 and NASDAQ 100 rose about 0.6% after U.S. and Chinese officials announced that they will meet this week in Switzerland. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told Fox News the meeting will focus on de-escalation rather than reaching a deal, but said the current tariff rates aren't sustainable, and the dollar index rose 0.2% on news of the U.S.-China trade talks, while gold and Treasury fell as demand for haven assets ebbed. Traders also awaited a Federal Reserve meeting later on Wednesday where officials are expected to hold interest rates unchanged but could offer clues on this year's monetary easing path. Sentiment was also lifted by a reduction in China's policy rate as Beijing unveiled several measures to support its economy. It's clear that the U.S. and China want to have some sort of de-escalation, and the rhetoric has eased a little bit, so the move upwards can definitely continue, said Justin Onakusi, Chief Investment Officer at St. James's Place. The Chinese rate cut is an added positive, showing that China recognizes the need to prevent a slowdown in growth, he said. In Europe, the stock 600 benchmark slipped 0.4%, tracking Wall Street's weaker close on Tuesday, while drug makers' shares slid after Vinay Prasad, a critic of the COVID-19 vaccine for children, was named to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Novo Nordisk AS bucked the trend, however, on expectation that competition for its Wegovy obesity shot will subside later this year. U.S. pre-market movers included Supermicro Computer Inc., which fell after cutting net sales guidance. Fintech firm Avid Exchange Holdings Inc. surged as it agreed to be acquired by TPG in partnership with Corpay in a $2.2 billion deal, while Advanced Micro Devices Inc. also gained as strong earnings offset its guidance for a $1.5 billion hit from China export controls. U.S. Treasuries fell as traders priced a slower pace of policy easing from the Fed. Yields on rate-sensitive two-year securities rose about 3 basis points after traders pushed back the date of the first cut to July. They still expect 3 cuts this year, notwithstanding recent robust economic data and tariff-linked inflation risks. The Fed will bang on the same message again. They won't cut rates, and they will try to push back the moment where they will need to as long as possible, said Francois Rameau, senior strategist at Credit Mutual Asset Management. In that sense, there is somehow a disconnect between the market expecting multiple cuts this year and inflation expectations, which remain high for the second half of the year. Fed chill and its decision day at the Fed, and all eyes are on what it will mean for stock and bond markets, with the Fed widely expected to hold its benchmark rate steady at 4.25%-4.50%. Comma traders will be poring over Jerome Powell's comments for clues on whether President Donald Trump's policies are prompting any change in the outlook for further rate cuts. Expectations for lower rates have been faded as of late because of the strong U.S. economy, particularly the last jobs report. Money markets currently price 3/4-point reductions this year, one less than at the start of April. The meeting will likely shape expectations more than usual, as it is the first decision after the reciprocal tariff announcement, said Eric Liam, a rate strategist at Commerzbank. Verbal guidance will be key as markets have postponed expectations for monetary easing, he said, but with economic growth expected to slow and U.S. tariffs still in the cards and earnings season still underway, there are a lot of wild cards at play. In equities, options markets expect a one-day move of 1.1% for the S&P 500 index after the meeting. According to data from Goldman Sachs, hawkish surprises could lead to a temporary decline in cyclical assets, said Florian Elpo, head of macro research at Lombard Odier. A dovish surprise looks extremely unlikely. China cuts key rate reserve ratio to aid economy hit by tariffs. China reduced its policy rate and lowered the amount of cash lenders must keep in reserve as Beijing ramps up efforts to help an economy caught in a second trade war with the U.S. The People's Bank of China cut the 7-day reverse repurchase rate to 1.4% from 1.5%, according to Governor Pan Gongsheng. The central bank will also trim the reserve requirement ratio by 0.5 percentage point, Pan said at a briefing on Wednesday. The latest steps aim to guide borrowing costs lower and are among the 10 measures outlined by Pan, which also include rate reductions on a slew of relending tools and loans for policy banks. The RR cut will release about 1 trillion yuan, $139 billion in long-term liquidity, Pan said. The 7-day reverse repo cut will go into force on Thursday, with the RRR reduction in effect a week later, the PBOC said in separate statements. Speaking at the same briefing on Wednesday, the NFRA's Li pledged to introduce a series of financing policies soon to help stabilize the property market, ease regulations on insurers' investment in stocks to support the stabilization and revitalization of the capital market. He also laid out a plan to launch a package of measures to boost funding for small and private companies. More banks will be allowed set up financial asset investment arms to increase investment in technology firms, Lai added. Top overnight news, trade tariffs, Besant, Greer meeting with China Vice Premier, He Lifeng to jumpstart U.S.-China talks, Axios, Bloomberg, FT, Reuters, WAPO. Besant says meeting with China more about de-escalation than the big trade deal. Fox News, U.S.-China Business Council says expectations high trade talks between U.S.-China officials will result in tariff reprieve. Bloomberg, Trump says he will determine tariff levels and trade concessions from other countries. Bloomberg, U.S. authorities expected to make a decision on copper tariffs ahead of year-end deadline, according to trade group Bloomberg. Besant suggests trade deal announcements as soon as this week. Reuters, U.S. and U.K. near deal to lower tariffs on British steel car exports. Bloomberg FT, Shein and Temu experienced double-digit sales declines after raising retail prices to offset increased U.S. tariffs. Bloomberg. Central banks, Fed expected to leave rates unchanged while highlighting inflation, growth risks from tariffs. Bloomberg, New York Times, Yahoo Finance, PBOC announces interest rate cut, RR reduction. NY Times, Bloomberg, Reuters, Washington. House Republicans take more aggressive Medicaid savings proposals off the table for reconciliation bill. The Hill, Politico. House GOP considering Medicaid work requirements, say it could save $200 billion in effort to pay for tax package. Bloomberg. Centrist Republican Don Bacon objects to deep Medicaid cuts and says he doesn't buy leaders' assurances. WSJ. Salt Republicans warned they will have to settle for an unhappy compromise on a deal. Bloomberg. Senate Democrats unveil sweeping new proposal to ban presidents, lawmakers, and their families from crypto backing Axios. Economy. Container liners canceling shipping routes between U.S. and China due to trade standoff. Bloomberg. China expands pilot scheme allowing insurers to invest in stock market. Reuters. China's efforts to boost consumption hampered by growing cautiousness amid fears of job losses. Bloomberg. German factory orders increased in March as businesses stockpiled goods ahead of anticipated Trump tariffs. Bloomberg. Japan services activity returns to growth in April amid improvement in new orders. Reuters. New Zealand labor market steadies as markets continue to price in 75 BP of easing by end of 2025. Bloomberg. Corporate. Super Micro Q. 4 revenue guidance underwhelms amid delayed customer orders. Bloomberg. Reuters. AMD guides Q2 revenue above expectations, announces $1.5 billion hit from U.S. export restrictions. Bloomberg. CNBC. Tesla's China's shipments declined by 6% in April as rival BYD posts gains. Bloomberg. Marvel Technology postpones its Investor Day conference due to a dynamic macroeconomic environment. Reuters. Rivian expects a sharper decline in FY deliveries with risks from Trump's trade war affecting demand for EVs. Bloomberg. OpenAI to share smaller revenue fraction with Microsoft as it restructures the information. Amazon's self-driving startup Zoox plans to scale up production next year for a commercial rollout of its robo-taxi fleet in the U.S. FT. TikTok aimed to reassure advertisers about its future in the U.S. during a sales presentation in New York City. WSJ. New York Times. BMW reaffirmed its 2025 outlook despite missing sales estimates, reporting stronger than expected profits. Reuters. Novo Nordisk beat operating profit estimates but missed on sales, cutting its guidance due to competition in GLP-1s. Reuters. European firms voicing concern about impact of strong euro on earnings. FT. Nvidia's Huang believes China AI chip market could reach $50 billion in next 2 years. Missing out would be tremendous loss. CNBC. Buybacks. U.S. companies planning record $500 billion in buybacks as tariff uncertainty weighs on investment plans. FT. Companies ramping up buybacks. April estimate of $234 billion, second highest on record. Bloomberg. Markets. Investors pulled $8.9 billion out of U.S. equities while sending $7.8 billion to foreign stocks, BOFA says. CNBC. Global M&A contracts fall to lowest level since 2005 amid tariff uncertainty, market volatility. Reuters. Geopolitics. India strikes targets in Pakistan in response to Kashmir terrorist attacks. Pakistan claims it shot down Indian fighter jets. FT. Axios. Pakistan vows to retaliate after India strikes. FT. Analysts fear further escalation. Bloomberg. Trump foreshadows big announcement concerning Middle East. NY Times. Trump pours cold water on Russia rejoining G7. Bloomberg. Chinese President Xi set to begin 4-day visit to Russia. Bloomberg. U.S. steps up intelligence gathering efforts in Greenland as Trump wages takeover campaign. WSJ. There's more. S&P futures, they're up by 0.3 or 0.18 now. Wednesday morning comes after U.S. equities finish lower for the second straight session on Tuesday. Biotech's big laggard while utilities and energy outperform. Treasuries mix with the curve flattening. Dollars up by 0.2. Gold is down by 0.8. Bitcoin up by 2.2. And WTI is flat. Futures underpinned by news that U.S. and Chinese officials will meet in Switzerland this weekend to talk trade. Bessent and initial talks will focus on de-escalation rather than a sweeping trade deal. While not necessarily surprising, meeting fits with the broader, albeit volatile, tariff de-escalation trend that has been the big driver of the recent bounce on risk assets. Other big story today has revolved around the additional policy support from China in the form of a 10 basis point policy cut and a 50 basis point RRR reduction and additional relending programs to support the market and economy. Nothing on the economic calendar today. FOMC is out at 2 p.m. No summary of economic projections. Fed to leave policy unchanged, and Powell expected to continue to highlight risks posed to tariffs or by tariffs to both growth and inflation. Key area of focus will be whether Powell reiterates recent comment about Fed needing to make sure tariff-driven inflation does not lift longer-term inflation expectations, or instead describe the likelihood of the tariff impact as transitory. Heading to the meeting, market is pricing in just over 80 basis points of Fed rate cuts this year, down from 100 expected prior to last Friday's better than expected employment report. Wow. Disney beat and raised, calling out strength in entertainment and experience. Uber gross bookings and guidance were below the street. AMD beat and guided above despite China AI chip ban. ANET beat and guided above, but stock hit by company left full year guide unchanged. EMR beat with software control a bright spot. Marvel pressured by decision to postpone June 10th investor meeting due to macro. EA had a big booking beat and guided full year bookings above. Rock beat most key metrics. Solid results from intelligent devices. SMCI cut full year revenue guidance. Rivian posted positive gross profit for a second straight quarter, and MOS beat on fertilizants margin and raised the potash guide. Wow. And we have a good time, Chad Adonia. Wow, let it keep a going, keep a going. Oh, so pre-market movers. I did not get a new mic. No, I just sound beautiful after working out yesterday. I'm so dead, you have no idea. I'm just hyped. It's Powell Day. It's what fucking Powell Day! Sorry. ROK, Rock, they're up 9 off earnings. Disney is up by 7. Earnings planning new theme parks in Abu Dhabi. Tiva is up by 5.8 off earnings. EA is up by 4.8 off earnings. NVO 4.8. EMR 3.5 off earnings. ACI 3.1. BMO upgrade. TRMB up 2. BSY up 1. Honeywell up 1.8. Bank of America upgrade. AMD is up 1.2 off of earnings. DVN up 0.9 off of earnings. CRL 23 off earnings. AVDX up 18 to be acquired for $10 a share. ZK up 10. Geely Automotive submits non-binding offer to acquire for $250 a share or $25.66. On the ADR, Nibis is up 8.9. Strategic investment in Toloka, AI data solution business led by Bezos Expeditions. WRD is up by 5. Uber to make additional equity investment, $100 million in WeRide. IMCR is up by 5 off earnings. RXRX is up by 4.5. UEC is up by 3.1. U.S. Iranian supply agreement with Radiant Industries. LFST 2.3 off earnings. NCW is up 51. MOU with Sora Dynamics to jointly develop and deploy AI in-vehicle drone logistics system. Purple is up by 20. Expansion of commercial relationship with Somni Group. AMLX up 11.4. Lyric partner upgrade. AVIR is up by 2.9. Full results phase 2 study. Trading lower. Marvel down 8.5 off guidance. SMCI 6.6 earnings and guidance. ANET down 6.9 off earnings. VST down 3.5 off earnings. Crowd down 3.1 expects first quarter results in line or above prior guidance. 5% workforce reduction. ITW down 1.7. Bank of America downgrade. VSTS down 28. New CEO and earnings. CDLR down 11 in sympathy with Orsted. Plans to discontinue the Horn C4 project. WW 53% down, details on reorganization and prepackaged Chapter 11. Hain down 15 off earnings. PMTS down 8.5 off earnings. Trox down 2.8. BMO Capital downgrade. And gold and silver trading lower. Wow. So Chattadonia. That's not bad. We got really good time, bro. We have very good time. So other than that, it's going to be about Powell. We're playing the game here with the de-escalation, but hopefully you guys see it. You know, that candle last night, after hours, you were up like 1 point something, and now it's just 0.25%, and that's considering even had a little bit of a sell-off at yesterday's close. So other than that, I do have a couple of pre-market plays to look at. Oh, but before we do anything, ladies and gentlemen, I got another one for you today too. I do. I'm not gonna give it away, but I'm gonna tell you something because we have Jerome Powell today, so Philo's gonna be a little weird, but. Every day we get here, man, and we honor a very specific group of people, and I love it, and I hope you do too, man, and really every day, man, before we go out there, chase a dollar, try to do everything, play the news, whatever it may be. I hope all of you take the time to realize we are here because of other people's sacrifices. And I'm not talking about myself. I am talking about the veterans of the United States of America. They have given up their families, their time. It didn't matter agreement or disagreement. Even when they come home, they got another battle to face. So when it's all said and done, I really hope y'all bring this into the real world. And it really means a lot here in this community and culture. And for real, veterans, if anybody should be getting a house, if anybody should be getting a long-term, that should be you. And I hope we could help in any way. We don't want anything back. We already owe you. So at the end of the day, though, I do think the culture is important. We've talked about homeless veterans, $6 billion, and a lot of things. But one of the best things you could do, man, give a cold cup of water, show some love and honor them, and I really hope y'all bring this into the real world. So veterans, the families, everybody that has served, baby, thank you for everything. And God bless every single one of you. I hope y'all continue to thrive and do better than ever before. And at the end of the day, I really hope those of you who have not served, I really hope you can honor this and really appreciate it. So veterans, families, thank you, thank you, thank you. And big shout out to anybody else out there giving back to their local communities, doctors, nurses, teachers, firefighters, police officers, the janitors, the coaches, the garbage men, anybody making their community run, baby. God bless you and thank you. But ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Place your right hand over your heart. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, baby. Son of the Jets! Oh, it's game time, baby. Oh, nah, let's go. Oh, dude, I think that horn almost killed me. Yeah, that thing, the little tassel. Trump envoy to brief UN Security Council on Gaza aid plan, Axios. All righty. Shout out to vets, baby. So, Chattadonia, we got good time. We got very, very good time. So let me get that. We do still got to move to Gen Pop today. But other than that, get ready. I don't think you're not going to be missing anything for Powell. We'll go over the preview about 30 minutes ahead. I'll show you some of the statements. Other than that, though, it's going to be an interesting day about de-escalation versus Powell. So I hope you guys are ready for it, baby. But on that note, God bless America. Thank you to the veterans. It's time that we go. It's time that we go to Gen Pop, my guy. So I will see you there. Be safe and God bless you. And that's it. That's it. Goodbye. 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 Either way, baby.